And we are live. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. No, sit down. Welcome everybody to episode 136 of the Crafty Boys. We are drinking beer, talking about crap, and
yes,
that's what else? How else do you describe this thing?
yeah.
So
hopefully, no internet problems today.
Yes, Dave. I was trying to record with Dave the other day for another project, and it's like this is Dave the other day. So yeah, I think that's great. When purple mucus death imminent. It was messed up. It was like I was trying to. But it started fine, and it was about 20 minutes in where I'm trying to listen to what he's saying, and I'm like, I missed that word. Nope, that's like 3 words later. Nope, no. I just let it go. I didn't bother complaining. And then like 45 minutes into it, I'm like, yeah, okay, so that's a great show. Thanks so much. Yeah, Dave, we can't use this because
it's fucked.
Your internet blows, and what else do you do? So
I actually blame Shane.
Who picked this beer?
I think it was me.
It was you. Excellent. All right, I'm holding mine up.
All right, so the beer this week from Persephone Brewing is their Wee Heavy, which is a Scotch ale. It's a limited release, pardon me, a seasonal offering. It has an original gravity of 1.070, an IBU rating of 20, and alcohol by volume of 7.5%. Rich and malty aroma with dark fruit and caramel notes, caramel and toasted malt, and raisin-like flavors. Interesting. With a slight sweetness and warm sensation from the alcohol, of course. Incidentally, this
you pee yourself.
won second place at the 2015 Canadian Brewing Awards in the Scotch Ale category.
Oh. I just smelled the beer with the bottle cap on.
Did you? How did it smell?
Smelled like a bottle cap.
Can a bottle cap smell? I mean, does it emit an odor?
I don't know.
Bottle cap, can you smell?
Can you smell? Bottle cap. I have trouble smelling because I don't have any nose on me. But I am so happy to have been accepted into your worldly. What? Where are you taking me? No, don't touch me there.
Oh.
Way to go, Dave.
We have to bring out a doll to the bottle cap. Now, where did Shane touch you?
That is so wrong in every way. Okay. All
right. So I've made my pour here.
I've made my pour.
So,
hey, Peanut Gallery.
Pretty dark, like you would expect from a Scotch ale.
Would you like something?
But it's very translucent. I can see right through it. It's like a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah, so can I. It's way
very clear.
I thought it would be.
I love the color.
The Peanut Gallery just gave it the stink eye. What is that? Where are you? Hey, okay, tell me more.
Mine looks very red, guys. Does yours look?
Yes.
Super red.
Almost like cherry, kind of.
Yeah.
Like maybe grape juice.
Well, mine. You can't
I'm thinking grape juice. It's that kind of a red.
But it doesn't taste like grape juice.
No. It is definitely, to me, I think it's actually kind of they're calling it a Wee Heavy, but I gotta say, I am not feeling it as being that heavy. It's actually kind of light, or it's not light, but it's light for what it's supposed to be. What is the Angry Scotch Ale?
I believe that's from Russell.
Angry Stot Ale. Good job, Shane. You can type. Yeah, Russell Brewing, the Angry Scotch Ale. What is the IBU rating on the other one? That's 20. This is 30. It's got less alcohol in it, and yeah, it's called the Wee Angry Scotch Ale. So I guess
I would rather compare it with the Riley Scotch Ale from Swans.
Oh, really? Which I don't know. Have I ever had that?
I don't think so. I don't think you can get Swans product in bottles on the mainland. But the Riley Scotch Ale is at Swans, and Swans has a bit of a dubious reputation here locally now. But for reasons other than to do with the beer. But their Scotch Ale, the Riley's, is, in my opinion, it's the high watermark for
really
for Scotch ales.
We will have to have some when I'm there next, whenever that is.
I think what we need to do is we need to build a list for Shane. And when he visits the Vic next, he can buy from that list, take it back home with him.
That's a good point. Bring an extra bag, Shane. Carry it around. Clink, 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 clink. So
you might be further ahead, just renting one of those little U-Haul trucks, and we'll just go with that.
So back to the beer. I'm liking this, although it's a lot, as Shane says, it's a lot lighter than other Scotch ales I've had. But that doesn't make it bad. It just makes it different. And I can appreciate that. There's some people that don't like the strength of a regular Scotch ale. And I think this would appeal to those people.
That sounded threatening. Some people don't like it, but then there are people who might. It just seemed like, okay, let's see, that got really dark.
Whatever you say, please don't hurt me.
I don't want to. Don't touch me there. Oh my God.
Dave,
you know what's really funny? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I want Dave's thoughts.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we do. Come on, out with it.
Are you kidding me?
I think Dave is wussing out. What do you think? Dave, this is not a free speech. Oh, wait, I guess it is. Never mind. Not what I meant to say.
I will say this is good.
Excellent.
I'm liking
all I hate to hear. It's good. I like beer. Beer have bubbles. Bubbles
no, I don't really like beer.
Feel good.
But this is. I kind of liked it. It's a bit lighter.
See, and this is what I mean. There are people out there that like a lighter beer that don't appreciate the heaviness of a Scotch ale. Now, Scotch ale is like heavy, like you could maybe stick a fork in it and it'll stand up.
Well, that's Guinness.
Well, that's Guinness too, but it's also a Scotch ale. Scotch ale can be heavy like that, and some people would appreciate the lighter. Almost got maybe like a dark whiskey kind of look to it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, my brain just completely froze. What? See, this is the thing. In a couple, actually, by the way, first of all, I failed on Facebook to say this, but it was Alan's birthday not too long ago. Dave, did you wish him a happy birthday?
No. I did not. I apologize. I didn't even realize it was Alan's birthday.
I hadn't been on Facebook for like a week or so, and his birthday was like smack in the middle. So Happy birthday to Alan.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
It was a couple weeks ago now, but thank you for
exactly.
remembering.
I think it's I remembered on Thursday last week. I'm like, I didn't tell him. So I just waited till today.
Oh, okay.
Dave, words in my mouth are excellent. Holy shit. So here's the thing. The reason I'm thinking about the birthday is that it was Alan's birthday recently. My birthday is in about a week and a half or so.
More than that.
Or is it 2 weeks? I don't even know. It's I'll look at the calendar. It's in 2 weeks. So Alan, I wanted to ask you, now that you are of a new age, how is your mind working? Is it forgetting things? Is it reaching?
Yes, it's forgetting things. Suddenly. No. It's been coming on for a while now, where, you know, like you, I'll have like this word that I want to say, and it's right there. And I can't make it come out, right? I know what the word is. Or at least I think I know what the word is.
I'm not
and
sure.
It's on the tip of my tongue, and I can't say it. And the thing is happening with me for names too. Like I'm a big baseball guy. I like watching baseball. I follow baseball religiously, and my kids do as well. And we're sitting around and we're talking about Alex Rodriguez, who is like one of the biggest names in baseball. He's retired now. But we were talking about something that he did, and I couldn't remember his name. How do I not remember Alex Rodriguez's name? And I'm saying that guy and my kids look at me, they're like, Alex Rodriguez? Is that who you're talking about? How do you not know Alex Rodriguez's name? You know, they were completely dumbfounded by it. So yes, I'm forgetting things all the time. I trail off when I'm talking. I get sidetracked. It's like I start talking. It's like, oh, look, a pretty bird, a shiny blue car. Or people will be talking to me, and I'll completely zone out and forget what they're even talking about.
Then I am not alone. Because the other day, actually not the other day, probably about a month or two ago, I was I don't remember what I was trying to recall. It was somebody's name, I think. And it was kind of like that moment of, you know, the dude, the thing, and but it was a moment where, when I finally realized what I was actually trying to recall, I'm like, really, how the hell did I forget that? You know, it's kind of like doing the thing where it's like, Luke Skywalker, you know, like taking 4 hours to figure that out. And yeah, I it was one of those times where I'm thinking, have I had a stroke? Have I have I completely like lost my mind? Is there something wrong? And then I remembered, you know, oh, wait a minute. No, how old am I?
You know, I ask people all the time whether I'm having a stroke. And it's usually because there's this, I don't know if it's a fact or not, but apparently if you smell burnt toast, you could be having a stroke. So if I'm at work and I go out for coffee with one of my workmates or something, and I smell burnt toast, I ask her, I'm like, do you smell burnt toast? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, good. Either I'm not having a stroke or we're having a stroke together.
That I'm sorry, but we might be having a stroke together. Well, yeah, I'm glad it. Yeah, because there have been times over the last, I don't know, little while, last couple of years anyway, where, but especially since I've been thinking about it, because of course now that I have it in my, you know, the forefront of my mind, I'm sitting there going, every time it's like, I forgot that thing. It's like, well, oh, the Rory Calhoun. Like, why would I remember that?
The guy who's always standing and walking.
Exactly. But the thing was, is it got to the point where that particular day, because I think I was trying to remember a couple things at a time. I felt like I was doing that thing where it's like, you know, Marge, what is that? Where's the digger thing that takes food out of, brings it to my mouth? She's like, a spoon? He's like, yeah. You know, there are times where I'm kind of thinking, how much beer did I have this week? And I'm like, I haven't drank anything. Oh my God, at least I don't have any. Oh wait, I have no excuse. So yeah, it's just one of those things, right?
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, if you surround yourself with young people, it's worse.
Oh, great.
Because they like to make, young people like to make older people feel older than they actually are.
Yes.
So my coworker who I talked about, she's actually quite young. She's in her late 20s. So considerably younger than me. And and if anybody asks how long I've worked at the place, I said, well, I started there in 1994. And then she turns and she says, oh, I was 4 years old then.
How old are you now? Do you want to see the next year? Oh my God. You know, it's so funny though, because Dave, we haven't even asked, have you experienced such a thing yet? I assume you must, because you are, you know, of our age.
Oh yeah, totally. I just opt for the, you know, the who's it over there on the thingy.
The who's it, the thingy, that you know, the whatchamacallit.
That's my move.
One of these days, what's going to happen is we're going to log in to do one of these shows here, and Dave's going to come on with a pair of underwear on his head. Hi, guys, I'm ready to go. Underwear on my head.
Yep. I will have completely lost my shit.
My name is Dave. That's good, Dave. So what, did you get the beer today?
No, I'm having prune mush.
I'd like one of you young'uns to come over here and wipe my tushy. I can't drink beer no more. The hose don't work. I gotta take a pipe cleaner once every 2-3 days and just jam that sucker in there, and it all comes like a torrent.
Oh
God, my entire nether region just was like, what are you? No, you're never going to stick that in me. No. Nothing like a good pipe cleaning. Yeah. I think that joke is from 1994.
And I'll tell you, I work in a medical field, and so I hear about all these things that people our age are going through and stuff. And one of the things, and this totally creeps me out, like it's probably going to happen to all of us at some point. But eventually,
I'm trying to picture what that
have to
might
get
be.
a catheter.
Oh, a catheter. Okay, I was like, second penis. No.
Now, what happens? A lot of guys, when they wake up in the hospital with a catheter, their first inkling is to pull it out. Don't do that.
God.
Because essentially, the catheter has on the end an inflatable balloon. So when they insert it, they inflate the balloon to keep it stationary. And in order to pull it out safely, you need to deflate the balloon. And it doesn't pop. So essentially, these people are pulling these things out with the balloon inflated. And
I want to watch one of us do that.
No.
Dave.
Nope.
Look at the watch. Dave. Look at the watch. You feel sleepy. You wish you put a catheter in your. Anyway. Okay, let's wake. When you hear the word chicken, you will wake up. You will have an intense desire to pull it out. Oh God. Yeah. It's like my bladder is trying to climb up into my chest. It's like, no, sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Burley. We can't put that in there because it appears your bladder is in your spinal column. and it doesn't seem to want to go back to where it's supposed to be. That's because I put it there. Okay, well, I'm glad that I'm not the only one who's suffering, because suffering is realizing these little moments of nah, and you just want to sit back and be like, oh, maybe I should be either dead or I should be retired by now. Good luck. There was actually a thing I had. See, I'm doing it now. This week, I have to ask you this because there's two things this week that I've actually run into.
Okay.
The first being, there is a trailer out that just came out with Ewan McGregor playing Christopher Robin as an adult, and he's grown up. He has kids of his own, and Pooh Bear comes to help him. I love this idea, but I think it's a great sort of idea that Disney's doing because, I like what happens when Peter Pan grows up? What happens when Christopher Robin grows up? In reality, Christopher Robin hated the whole Winnie the Pooh thing, but or whatever the kid's name was. Was that his real name? I don't even know. But I was thinking that, potentially being older adults now, would you be concerned that you had some weird brain disease if you saw your childhood toy talking to you while you were sitting on a park bench?
I'd probably have a conversation.
Really? With your what childhood toy?
Well, let's okay. So let's determine what my childhood toy would be.
That's exactly what I was going to
talking to me. I think it would probably be the original Darth Vader with like the lightsaber in the arm that telescopes out and the vinyl cape, right. and it would stand there, and of course it doesn't have like articulated elbows or anything like that, so it's just gonna be like and I don't know what it would say to me.
I see the mask being pulled off and a cigarette going in. We got to talk about the midichlorians. What kind of bullshit was that, huh? I mean, really, think about it. You got to really think about it, with the whole, the midichlorians. What was he smoking? Like, I like trade wars more than anyone. But, really, you got to think. Like, that would be the best.
I wonder, how does Darth Vader eat?
In that cocoon egg thing.
Cocoon egg thing?
You remember in Empire, the
yeah.
That's got
a bathroom.
Yeah, that's his bathroom too.
He has an advisor that makes smoothies for him.
Have you ever seen the that stand-up piece with Eddie
Eddie Bauer?
I'm not forgetting his name because I don't recall what it is. It's somebody I've only seen once in a while. He's the British comic that puts on women's clothing when he's on stage.
Oh, Dame Judi Dench.
Sure. Anyway, he does this.
No. Dame Edna.
No, not Dame Edna.
No.
Oh my God. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But he does this bit where it's like Darth Vader going to the cafeteria in the Death Star. Have you seen this piece?
Oh yes, I think so.
So he's like, I'm Darth Vader, Lord of whatever, blah blah blah. I could kill you with this tray. That is that kind of what you picture as what Darth Vader would be going to having to eat.
Yeah. I can see him getting like mac and cheese or something, and like trying to shovel it in. Actually, okay, so years ago I was part of a comedy group and I wrote a sketch called Darth Vader's Date. And he goes on a blind date with this woman, and he's very sort of like not at work, right? He's on his personal stuff, so he kind of lets loose and stuff. And then there's like a montage scene where and in the montage they end up sharing an ice cream, and he's got this ice cream. He just kind of like shoves it into the grill. Man, I wish I could find that. That was awesome.
There was I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to like, how would he eat fries? Or a burger? My God, what if he went to the pub? He's like, I'd like to get the BC.
You would have to take everything intravenously.
But
I mean, his esophagus would be completely burned up from Mustafar, right?
True.
He would have to take in everything intravenously. In fact, that's probably what all the buttons and everything are. It's probably a system that replicates food and just puts it into his body. He doesn't actually have to eat.
I'm trying to think, what would he say? Mashed fries, ketchup, mustard, hot. The
but not too hot.
But not too hot. Oh, it's burning my mouth.
Please, not too hot. Ah!
God. Oh God, there was something else I wanted to mention. Also in Star Wars news, there was a photograph, like a picture from Rogue One, and a photograph from a clip at the very beginning, or no, the casino scene in the latest film.
Yeah.
And the one thing that they pointed out was the remember there's the scene where there's the attack while they're in that town before it gets obliterated on the with the where Snow Dog or whatever his name is who is not Snow Dog, who is Forrest Whitaker's character. What the hell is his name? I don't even know. We'll just
Saw Gerrera.
That's the one. So that town that he's nearby, like that town. So there's the scene where the attack happens, and then the lead female character. See, I've only seen the film like twice, so I don't even know. But so she goes and grabs this crying child who's like freaking out in the middle of this firefight, and she hides with her. Something explodes. She protects her from the explosion, and then she gives the child to the parent, who eventually shows up. Somebody actually took these two photographs of that scene of the kid crying, and the scene from the casino, saying that you realize that the character of the child on that planet is the same character who's the love interest, who's the mechanic on in the rebellion.
Really?
Apparently that's actually a thing.
Is this a Lucasfilm sanctioned thing, or is this just
I somehow doubt it.
Fans,
but apparently it is actually true. But the unnamed source inside Lucasfilm. So I had never noticed. I didn't really care, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, that's kind of cute. I kind of like that. But the thing that I can't quite figure out is how much time has passed between right before A New Hope and
a long time.
That film, but because I think the time is actually far too long.
I mean, the amount of time between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens is said to be at least 30 years. So
that character would be like 60-ish years, if that. Okay. So 30.
well, no.
Well, no, how much time between A New Hope
And Return of the
and
Jedi?
Return of the Jedi?
I would say 5 years.
So not a whole. Okay, then I guess because that child looks like she's probably 5, 6. No, gosh, she's probably younger.
So
4,
no,
5,
I
somewhere
mean
in
it
there.
doesn't fit then because Rose is way younger than like 45. I'm sorry, Rose is basically a kid.
Yeah, because I was gonna say she'd probably be 25, 30, somewhere in there at the most.
30.
So
Yeah.
even if we gave it to her as being 30, then yeah, there's not enough.
No. Ain't doable. Unless she is a species that ages slowly.
That is true. Well, according to the official Galactic History timeline, so the Battle of Yavin is sort of like year 0 in Star Wars lore. So I gotta skip through. Oh my god, there's all this stuff going on during the Clone Wars. Oh, boring. So I'm now at 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. The Battle of Yavin. So we've got. So we've got all this kind of crap happens. Great. Okay. Here's the timeline for that. Excellent. So if we go to Battle of Endor happens in 4 ABY after the Battle of Yavin. So that's 4 years. And would we say that Rogue One takes place like a couple of days, 3 days before, a week before Yavin 4?
That's a fair guess.
Okay. So, okay. Then that would make her if we go skipping ahead all the way to where there we go. So 34. Okay, so here it is. The last entry here is Luke Skywalker dies, becoming one with the Force in 34 after the Battle of Yavin. So
34 minus 4.
So 30
ish.
34, yeah. So she would have to be at least 34 years of age. She couldn't be younger than that.
Okay, I mean maybe. It's passable.
I mean the actress is probably not that old, but I don't know her at all. So I guess, it's possible.
The question is Finn 34 years old? And
that's a good question.
If he isn't, if he's younger than 34, which I suspect he is, then that means Finn goes for older women.
Yeah, that's true. They have like the whole romance thing going on.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Interesting.
Way to go, Finn.
So,
for the olders. Woohoo!
So Finn has dessert. No, he deserts. Oh my god, he deserts. Wow.
He had himself a baked Alaska.
And it was really great. I'm trying to find out what the hell year this is.
Hey, what the hell is a baked Alaska? Has anybody ever had a baked Alaska? Like, yeah. I've heard of that dessert on TV and stuff, but has anybody ever had one?
Mm-hmm.
Baked Alaska is a dessert.
Yeah, I know that. But has anybody ever had one? Is it like fruitcake?
No.
Fruitcake. Everybody has fruitcake, but nobody ever eats fruitcake.
I eat fruitcake. It's good stuff.
You eat fruitcake?
I have 17 years of loaves to give you.
I'm convinced that there's only one fruitcake in the world, and it just gets passed around until Dave gets his hands on it, and then it's gone. That fruitcake you ate was from 1946.
So
where were we? Baked
The
Alaska.
Last Jedi
Yes.
takes place in
Baked
there.
Alaska is ice cream.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's ice cream.
Really?
Yep.
Yes.
I have to discover this.
I have to get to the bottom of this mystery. I need to do it now, immediately. It must be done. Absolutely no question. If no one knows, I'll find out for the human race.
So can it be baked then? If it's ice cream, can it be baked?
Yeah, you treat it in such a way that it can stand the oven for as long
You
as
treat it like take it out for dinner and
Yeah.
You gotta take it out for dinner. You gotta show it a good time.
Yeah, you really do. And you cannot be a cheap bastard.
Tell me more.
You got to treat it right. Otherwise, it's just going to fall apart on you later.
You know, the way you said that.
does your baked Alaska put out?
You know what completely and utterly just came to mind when you said you gotta treat it right is the Mr. T song. Treat your mother right. Remember that? Treat your mother right. Treat her right. Whatever the hell it was. But yeah, there you go. Thank you for that, Dave, for that memory. At least I have all kinds of useless stuff in my head that it just pops out whenever it feels like it.
Happy to oblige.
But you can't remember the name of Captain Janeway when you need to.
The important stuff.
The important stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
What were we talking about?
I
Shane was just looking something up.
The Star Wars
Shane was looking
timeline.
something up about
I can't find when Finn was born.
So still staying on Star Wars.
Because he was cloned. No?
That's post clone.
Oh yeah.
Post. Yeah.
So staying on Star Wars, and I know you guys haven't watched this, and I haven't watched it yet, but this week was the series finale of Star Wars Rebels. Everywhere in the world except for in Canada, the finale will be next week in Canada.
Of course.
But from all accounts, it changes something in Return of the Jedi.
Sorry, say that again.
So I have not seen the final episode myself. It airs in Canada next week, but I've read online non-spoiler things that have said that the finale brings in a character from the original trilogy, and that it changes something in Return of the Jedi. I don't know what.
I want to know more. I've actually not seen Rebels at all.
You really should. It is a fantastic thing. It starts off kind of slow.
Yeah, because I'm in season 3 of Clone Wars, I think.
So Clone Wars starts getting really good at about the last half of season 4. And after that, it's a whirlwind. But you need to finish Clone Wars before you watch Rebels, because there are characters from Clone Wars in Rebels.
I can tell you exactly what episode I just finished. Assassin, which was an episode, God, it's 8 years ago. God. Where the red, what's her face? The assassin that's got, the one who's got the tall with the stick and the pom-pom on her head.
Yeah.
That's the episode that I just watched because
this is happening right now. Her name is on the tip of my tongue and I can't say it.
Oh, I don't even know. Aura
Is it
Singh, I
Lady-
think, is
Lady
her
something?
Yes,
character.
Aura Singh.
Yeah. So that's because I know that I've watched further than that because I got into the Night Sister stuff. But then like at least a year passed between when I watched that. So I actually had to go back to the beginning of season 3 and a bit into season 2 just to remember myself of what actually the hell was going on. Because I now know I've seen the episode where they've got the clones trying to train and they're not very good and they get help from the deformed clone. I've seen that one like 3 times now. So
And Saw Gerrera from the movie, that one, the Rogue One, is in a few episodes of the Clone Wars, and is also in a couple of episodes of Rebels as well.
okay.
And there's some other characters and storylines from Clone Wars that continue on into Rebels. A lot of people feel that Rebels is far superior to the Clone Wars. Clone Wars is really good.
I heard too. I'm just not sure why because I don't actually. Okay, first, what is the Rebels story about?
Okay, so Rebels story is about a it takes place before the actual rebellion. So what there are is there's all these rebel cells at various places. So this focuses on this one rebel cell, and they fly a ship called the Ghost, and they have Captain Hera and an old Jedi who was not killed in the Purge, named Kanan Jarrus. And they find there's a collection of other people, including a Mandalorian, this weird cat-like creature, and an R2 unit that find a boy on Lothal whose parents have been kidnapped or murdered or whatever. And apparently he's quite force sensitive. So Kanan Jarrus starts training him in the ways of the Force. And so they just go on many different missions and stuff against the Empire. It's interesting with the Mandalorian. There's some episodes on Mandalore. The dark saber comes into play. A lot of characters from the Clone Wars come in that particular arc. Hondo comes into play. Let me see here. Grand Admiral Thrawn, starting in season 3, comes in. Now, if you're a fan of the original Timothy Zahn books that came in after Return of the Jedi, and these were sort of like supposed to be supposedly episodes 7, 8, and 9 before all the extended universe were basically made non-canon. Grand Admiral Thrawn was a key figure in those books, and they brought him in to the Star Wars Rebels. It's a really interesting story. I highly recommend it. I'm looking forward to next week's finale.
Interesting.
Now, the rumor is that they're going to create a new animated series that is going to take place between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens.
Interesting. I mean, it is, well, if it's 30 years, it's 30 years of time unaccounted for, I guess. So,
and from what I've heard, the Rebels series finale may be leading into the new series.
Oh, okay. What do you think, Dave? Do you ever watch this show?
Well, I watched a bunch of the Clone Wars, and then I stopped.
And then it was just too much. I couldn't handle it. I don't quite understand what's going on. Why?
I don't know. I wasn't really getting into it too much, and I was also watching too much stuff, so I kind of put everything aside. And I mean, I didn't mind it. Some of it, to me, felt, at the risk of sounding like a tool, felt a bit young.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I've heard that before. And the same deal with Rebels. Rebels and Clone Wars, when they both started off, they seemed very sort of like appealing to a young audience. But as they move along, they mature and they become not. I mean, they're suitable for a young audience, but they have definitely themes that are darker. That's why people say that season 4, like the late half of season 4 and on in the Clone Wars, is some really good stuff. And Rebels is really good. I mean, we got characters dying and stuff. I mean, it's, which is weird from a Disney point of view. A lot of people have thought that the main character, the kid in Rebels, was going to go dark, and a lot of people kind of assumed that he would be Snoke.
Really?
Yeah. So the kid in this, he had some very sort of like dark side tendencies, and so a lot of people thought he was going to be Snoke.
Yeah, because Snoke was kind of thrown away in the last film,
and because of that, I don't think he's going to be Snoke.
It just seemed so. It's not just me that was kind of, it was sort of like that original kind of the first review I watched was Kevin Smith, and he summed it up pretty quick that it's ultimately it felt like a filmmaker who was doing their own thing, but at the same time kind of taking a big dump on what had come before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you and I, we've talked about that already before on this little program of ours. So, but yeah, I mean, it was kind of like it was a good idea, a long time ago. But let's not continue that now. Let's put it back to where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, anyway. I thought you were going to say something.
No.
There was one other thing I was going to mention this week, but I've totally forgotten what it was because, mad cow. Anything to report, Dave? Like, have you had anything going on this week that you wanted to?
No, nothing that is leaping to mind. I've forgotten whatever it was. If there was something.
I don't know. There was this time where I'm tired. Alan, you?
No, nothing.
Nothing at all. Wow. So glad I hang out with you guys on a regular basis.
Yeah. I'm 46 now. I don't have a life.
I don't got much time longer on this world of ours, so I've had 46 rotations around this grand stock. God, I'm starting to turn it into, what's her name? Katharine Hepburn in a really terrible way. I remember the time when Dave was an old coot. An old coot? You're an old coot, Dave.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Well played.
I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Well, there's nothing wrong with getting older. I kind of enjoy it in a way. I'm lying, but you know, it's actually my dad sums it up all the time of late, because you know they're in their 70s now, and he says things like, "Fucking getting old sucks."
Well, I say that now.
Well, I know I've been saying the same thing, but again,
I said that when my GP had his finger up my ass. True. Hey, have you guys had a DRE yet?
I don't even know what to say. Had a what? Sorry,
A DRE.
What the
digital
hell is
rectal exam?
I haven't.
You should.
The fancy
at
new
your
doctor,
age. At your age, Shane, you should have had one by now.
Hey, I'm not 45 yet.
No, you should have had one when you were 40, dude.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because.
Do you want to do one? Is that kind of where this is leading to?
No, I don't want to do it.
As a matter of fact, Shane, I gotta catch the late ferry. It'll be fine. I didn't have a doctor for a long time, so I didn't have anyone telling me that I needed to.
Yeah, you should have one. By the time you're 40, you should have one.
Really?
And then, like every
that's
3 years
stick
after
the
that,
scope. They put the scope in, right?
No, they don't put a scope in.
Inflate your guts.
It's
or
like,
whatever.
and it's like.
You're thinking.
I gotta sit down for this now.
I think you're thinking of the colonoscopy, Shane.
Yes.
Oh, colonoscopy. Well, that's what I thought he was talking about.
Digital rectal. No. So it's like.
So these are the digits.
Doctor puts on a glove. Yeah.
Okay.
Up there and feels around. It's very quick. It's very painless. And the movies and TV shows and everything make you think it's worse than it actually is.
What is this?
It actually don't go in very far.
Well, what exactly is this like? What exactly is it trying to determine?
Well, first of all, what they mostly do is they check for your prostate to see if there's anything wrong with it.
Okay.
But aside from that, they can also check if there's any abnormalities in your rectum, like colorectal cancer.
So how many of these have you had now?
I have had one.
Okay.
I had an opportunity for a second and I declined it.
Why did you decline?
Well, I was in a bar. This guy comes up. No, I'm kidding. No.
6 weeks. 6 weeks of rabies shots this long. Everyone
no.
wanted to be hire on as my proctologist.
So I saw my doctor one time and he said, well, we should do a DRE. So I'm like, okay, fine. So we did it. And it actually, it wasn't pleasant, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And then I went to go see my doctor again a couple months later, and he was like, we should do a DRE, or have I done one on you already? And I'm like, yeah, you did one a couple months ago. Okay, well, we don't need to do one again. Unless you want it. Oh, no. Yeah.
So basically, you're not selling it to me, man. Dave, what about you, man? Have you had one?
Yes.
Really? Did you do it to yourself, or did you get a doctor to do it? As a matter of fact, I'll just do it right now. Okay.
You were not qualified, Shane.
Oh, damn, you're not gonna be qualified to touch my taint.
You need the piece of paper, dude.
Damn. Well, Dave, you get over here.
I don't have a piece of paper for that.
You can watch. That's just awful.
Wow.
Oh.
So basically, I should get one. Well, then I'll have to. My fancy new doctor that we've had. How long have we had that doctor guy? Okay. Did I mention that Allie had a? yesterday.
So she's
not very happy right now. We love you. By the way, this was her response. You can guess what else. Okay, well then I'll get one of them scheduled, because I've actually really been thinking about the scope, the whole, because 45 is apparently the age that you should really start getting them done every 5 years, I think it was. So
DRE.
Then that means I need to get one.
The scope, the whole thing.
What?
Especially by the time you're 50, right? So there's a whole thing where you have to supposedly get it done, mainly because of the chances of cancer and stuff in your gut, that you
increase.
Of course, Alan is really the expert of this realm.
Well, they're horrible.
They are horrible. So yes, I don't want to get into it too much. Basically, colorectal cancer and gastrointestinal cancers in general, really, really hard to spot. You don't feel symptoms until it's too late.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's important to do the screening tests to determine if you have anything before you feel symptoms. If they catch it early enough, it's curable. If they don't, it's likely not. In fact, I believe the death rate on colorectal cancers that are caught when symptoms appear is about 95%.
Whoa.
That's non-scientific. I'm pulling that off the top of my head, but it's around there.
Hardcore.
Yeah, it is pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
That's so sad and depressing now. On that note, we'll just leave this thought here.
Dudes, get your bits checked.
Get your bits checked. Get the hose up your bum.
That's the Crafty Boys PSA.
And drink good beer, because if you're diagnosed with some horrible thing, tomorrow, you may as well just drink the best beer you can find. So thank you everyone for watching. I'm sorry we brought it down to this level of downer notes, but we love you anyway. Thank you for watching, and come back next week where you will perform a live rectal exam on Dave.